Hello, great day to everyone. This is Adrian Singleton with Beyond Lean. First, I want to say thank you all for your comment to the page, subscribing, liking, and sharing. Already, we have received so much momentum in terms of this podcast to go beyond lean. If you don't know who I am, my name is Adrian Singleton, and I've been in manufacturing operations. I've been into 10, 15 different industries and traveled to 20 different type of countries. But one thing about lean is I've had a different mindset about lean. Lean has provided a way of life for me and my family to be able to live a great life, but also it gives me the ability to develop so many minds. I have led over 300 Kaizen events, and I've trained well over 4,000 employees. One thing I love about this is I believe in what I call P2, people first, process second. And the reason why we are saying this is beyond lean, because a lot of times most people tend to focus only on the people or the process side of lean. But there is so many different aspects of lean, and I want to focus on what I call beyond lean, because as a practitioner, you find that you go through so many things in life. You go through an opportunity to have a level of freedom in your life to where you feel like you're an entrepreneur, but you're still working for a company. And as you're working for a company, one thing that we have established is that we are the problem solvers. So the episode I want to talk to you today is this. Our economy, our world, everything is shifting, everything is changing. The level of scarcity that's taking place in the industry right now is that people are afraid of layoffs. They're afraid that their jobs are going to be impacted. We know we hear a lot of people talking about AI and what AI is going to do. But I want to give you a level of comfort during this podcast so you can understand that not only you, I, and everyone else, we're going through a great change in our economy. So I want to talk about turning layoffs into a launchpad. I want to give you 5 great things that really happens with a layoff. I know that some of us, we can feel when a layoff is coming. There is an innate ability when all of us, when things are shifting in our roles. When you first have a role, you have that level of security that things are taking place. But then suddenly there's a change in leadership. There's a change in your CEO. There's a change in the company that you purchase, or there's a change when another company comes to purchase you, or they purchase you all out. So now everybody becomes a little bit nervous. I've been in HR roles to where we have to make sure that before we share details, that we are very strategic in terms of sharing the details of what's going to take place after we have been acquired or after we have acquired another company. So I want to give you some things that are a benefit to you if you are laid off, if you have been impacted, because there are thousands of people around the world that have been impacted with layoffs. But layoffs can be great launch pads. And I can tell you the very first time that I was laid off, it was a shock to me because I was performing at the highest level. I always tell people I was never a meet or exceeds meets or a meet in terms of my performance review. I've always tried to over exceed because I want to have clear understanding of the goals and how do I over exceed the goals, just to make sure the company knows that I'm giving my best bet in terms of making sure that whatever I say, I'm going to do it. So let's talk about 5 things. Number 1, I want to talk about the emotional reset. I'm not going to ignore the fact that you are emotional, that you are a human being. And when a lot of us are working, this is how we provide for our families. This is how we're taking care of the shelter, our homes, the food. Some of us have daughters or sons or children in school or in college. This is how we provide for our families. So when you have that initial hit, that you're finding out that you're losing your job that you've been depending on for so many years, the very first thing you think about is, how will I take care of my family? So I want to give you that time to allow the human factor to kick in. It's okay to be human, but don't allow the human factor of your emotions overexert you till you don't look at the advantage of that. This can be a very good launch pad for you. Now, let's be honest. If you've been working with the same company for about 5 or 6 years, in your mind, somewhere along the tenure of your employment, you've thought about, am I receiving enough pay? Are there other opportunities? And have I become comfortable? So these opportunities give you a chance to look at your emotions, feel the human side, but change up and don't allow yourself to be stuck into the emotion side of it. So feel the emotions, but don't dwell in them, meaning don't just sink and soak in them and find yourself feeling sorry for yourself in the mode of being laid off. Sure, be there for a moment, find someone to talk through about the situation, how you feel, but then quickly get out of it, because now this is a great opportunity because you have a lot of times. Majority of the companies will present to you a severance package if you've been there for at least a year. So you have 5 weeks, 4 weeks, sometimes 18 to 20 weeks of pay that you have a chance to really look at this as, I have a signing bonus before I go into my new role. Because most of the time, if you do things right, this is a great opportunity for you to not just be locked into emotions, but to be able to launchpad into your next role. I've heard several people to say, hey, congratulations, you have received your next promotion. Now you get a chance to dictate where you want to go and be intentional about the next role you want to go in. So you are released from your role, but not your value, not your capability, and not your future. You are only released from a role. Think about this. There are thousands of job opportunities that are available now. To be honest with you, this is the best time to be laid off if you're going to be laid off, because there are so many opportunities that are out there. If you study the data, there are so many roles that are out there than the people that can take them. I'm going to say that again. There's so many opportunities out there than there are people that are willing to take the roles. So you are in a very prime time to be looking for a new role. The moment you remove the moment you remove emotion and move to strategy, it's the moment you take your power back. So I want you to understand this. Number one, do an emotional reset and make sure that you don't dwell within the emotions. Number two, immediate stability. I want to make sure that you understand that it's okay to bridge the gap. Immediately create the understanding in your mind that you have stability. When you immediately understand that you have stability, begin to breathe and bridge that gap together so that you can start looking at the positive things in terms of what's going to take place. So remember this, cash flow is king. Don't rush to start paying things off. Take your time. Every single month, if you have credit cards, then pay whatever you can on the credit cards, but don't pay those things off really quickly. This is a whole different class in terms of understanding your debt. Now, if you're debt free, you're in a lot better position. But I would say don't quickly pay things off. Cash flow is king. Now that you receive a big severance check, whether it's 1, 2, 3 weeks, then just make sure that you manage your cash flow well. This allows you to have strength, but not to be in survival. Because if you have a couple of weeks to think about the things you have, then maybe you need to put certain things off. There are certain things you can do, even with your home. You can do a few skip payments with your car, just to give you a few more months to be added to your severance package. So don't think about the stress. Think about, how do I become stable while the gap between me finding another role and the bonus check I receive as a severance. Now, there's a whole different conversation if you didn't receive a severance package, but I'll talk about that maybe in the next episode. Number two, this is a chance to bridge the role. And when you're bridging the role, don't be afraid to take what I call a temporary position. There are so many opportunities for you in this role. I know you're looking to land the big job right away. But in times when I have been laid off, I have been strategic to take another role that may not have paid me the same level that I have received in the past, but just so I can keep my bills going, just to keep income coming into my house, and I keep campaigning along while I'm taking that role. Sometimes you can look at, as a lean practitioner, you can consult, you can do some contract roles from 3 to 6 months, or you can take another role to where it can be a local opportunity that you can do until you campaign and find your next role. So listen, worry about being stable. Don't worry about what just happened. Again, move from the emotional state and start moving to the strategic state. So number three, the power of executive placement firms. And this is where I want to slow down to talk about the opportunity here. Majority of the times when you're laid off, the company has already prepared executive placement training or an executive placement firm for you. And what the executive placement firms do for you, these are high-level coaches that are well prepared to help you to land your next role. Some of the key things they do for you is they look at your current resume, they identify the gaps in your resume. Because remember, when you entered into the company you were at, there was a certain amount of value that you did not have. But if you were with a company for 6 months to a year, 2 or 3 years, then there's a whole different level of skills that were added to your value that you may not even have present on your resume. So this company, they look outside of the emotions and they help you strategically put the new skill set on your resume so that you are well fit and positioned with strength, more value, so that you are prepared to go to your next role. So think about this. You now have access to executive level thinking. Majority of the people that are with the placement firms, they are used to working with high level people. Now, they don't only work with individuals who are low performers because most of the time, if you are a low performer, you're probably going to get fired. And if you get fired, you won't have access to executive search firms. But if you were a high-ranking employee and it was just a business decision because they had the overhead too high and you were just a part of a leadership change, then if they give you this opportunity, they are putting you in front of people that work with CEOs, CFOs, president placements. These are individuals that are super powerful and they know the market very well. In fact, majority of these firms, they know about positions before they come to the market, which places you in a position to have them to look at your resume, really close the gap in terms of the skills that you need, and put you in front of the right people that can hire you for a stronger role with more salary, more pay, higher bonus, that's strategically putting you in position to add more value to your skill set. Think about this. They don't just help you find a job, they help you compete at a whole different level. Now you get a chance to compete at a different level. Just say, for instance, if you were a green belt or a black belt and you're ready to perform at a senior level role, or you want to perform at a director level role, you can simply tell them, and they'll be honest with you. If you have the skill set over the years to be able to perform at a director level role and you have the experience, then they can help you set up your resume so that at least you can start having conversations with people that are trying to hire their jobs. Now, this is the key of how they are very well prepared. You may have the experience, but you may not have the experience at a director level or a VP level, but the executive partners can help you with your conversation of taking your past experience so that when you sit down in front of the hiring manager, you can have a story that's aligned with your past experience, but it puts you in position to be able to land that director or that VP role. Think about this. You have the expert that speaks to so many people all the time at a different level that can help close the gap in terms of what you're trying to achieve for your next level. So they don't just help you find a job, they help you compete at a different level. Think about this. Number 4, you have a chance to upscale on your old company's dime. Most of the executive placement firms to work with you individuals, sometimes it costs between $5,000 to $15,000. And the company, they are taking on their costs to make sure that they make the investment in your future so that you are well prepared for the next role. So don't let in your emotions and don't talk to them or don't even set up a conversation. This is the best time to upscale your skills and allow somebody else to pay for it for you. So upscale on somebody else's dime. Some points behind this. This is one of the rare moments when someone else funds your elevation. Anytime you have someone else to fund your elevation, take full advantage of it. Lock in, because a lot of times they give you great training. They give you access to training for AI, give you access for training for global C-suite training. They give you access for project management, all of the different gaps that you've been missing to be elevated to the next level, executive presence training. They give you access to all levels of top tier training to prepare you for the next level. And the company is paying for it. Look it up and do some research yourself. Majority of these firms, they have a lot of clients that come in that the companies B2B are paying for, but it's super expensive. So now you get a chance to have high level executive training that somebody pays for to help you scale to the next position of your life. Now think about this too as well. Every new skill increases your ceiling, not just your new offer. It increases your ceiling that people see that you are the person that you are promotable, because now you have a skill set. One of the most charging and encouraging things I've seen is this. When I give them my resume I know that there's a lot of skill sets that I'm missing, and I tell them I want to get to the next level. Every time I get my resume back, I am blown away behind how they make my resume look. Now I need to change in my conversation to resemble my resume because I already have the experience. My conversation is different because the same level of conversation or interviewing skills I had at a green belt or at a black belt or a master black belt is completely different because I have to speak strategically if I'm getting into a C-suite role. But as I'm doing this, they help me shape my conversation at an enterprise level so that when I get in front of the hiring manager, I have the confidence, the skill set that matches my resume, and I'm ready to interview them, not them interviewing me. Because now, when you have that additional value added to your career, you are now interviewing them. So many times, the reason why I'm telling you to take your emotions off of the table, because if you come to an interview and you are tense because you are thinking about, I have to pay my bills, my daughter's in school, my son's in college, how am I going to pay for it? Now, they can pick up the urgency behind you interviewing, and now a sense of nervousness can come through the interview versus having the confidence that you are the right person for the job. Being in the level of confidence and taking your emotions off of the table, upskilling yourself, seeing yourself in a role, it helps you channel the conversation away from your past and allows the new company that you're interviewing with, it helps them see you in the future of solving a problem. So make sure that you slow down, prepare yourself, make sure that you're being represented according to your new value, and see yourself interviewing them and asking strategic questions so they can know that you're the person for the role. Number 5 is this. I want you to do this. I want you to start reframing in your mind first. Because when you reframe in your mind, you can understand my next statement. That a layoff is not a downgrade, it's a recalibration. After a long time, think about a tool inside of a manufacturing plant. This tool, or a jig that we call, is helped for you to be able to do a certain level of work the same exact way every single time. But because this tool is being used time after time after time again, then this tool began to be uncalibrated. So we have to have a certain level of expertise to come in to recalibrate it because we may have new products in place. We may have new lighting in place. We may have new tables in place. So it has to be recalibrated. So if we have to recalibrate tools, you have to recalibrate your tools as well. And this gives you an opportunity to recalibrate your value, your brand, your understanding. So that when you are preparing yourself for the next role, you know that you are already in a place of being accountable, of understanding how to solve problems at a different level. But now the value of you speaking to yourself, it goes to a different level. Many people were comfortable, not aligned. This forces clarity because a lot of times when you're with a company, let's be honest, all of us get comfortable after a while. Because we go through the same rotation. We do our process. We know that at the end of the month, there's a report out that we have to report out to our upper management. And then once we have a report out to upper management, we report out to the CEOs. It's the same rotation time after time again. So that makes us comfortable. We don't have any variations between what we do because now we just became very comfortable and now we start having security set in. But when things shift, it makes sure that we can gain a new level of clarity, a new level of skill set behind ourselves. We get a chance to recalibrate and resharpen our skills when layoffs happen. So just because a layoff happened doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I'm helping you understand there's a good thing. There was one of the greatest books I love to read. Not going to tell you the name of the book, but it talks about tough situations. Sometimes tough situations that are meant for bad, sometimes if you think about them well, they can really be turned around for your good. And that's exactly what I'm trying to help you understand when it comes down to reframing. You don't just want another job. You want the right role at the right level for the right season. And I'm going to say this again. You don't just want any job. You want the right role at the right level and for the right season, and I'm gonna add to this, for the right reason. This gives you an opportunity to upgrade yourself. Now, I remember when I first received a layoff, I was at a green belt or a manager level as a champion. But I took the time so well to sharpen my skills. The short-term role I took at the time was to consult. It was a very good opportunity. I started consulting. I learned so many different processes. I had a chance to fly and see so many different industries. But after about a year and a half, my skill set was so well defined. I received my very next role as an executive vice president for a $1 billion company. Not because I was just in my emotions behind the layoff, not because I was in a role that I did not value. The role that I was in, it paid me significantly less than what I was doing, but because I changed my mindset to know that this was an opportunity for me to have a launch pad to exercise and to execute what I did not know, but to put it into application to add to my value, it changed the strategic and the trajectory of my career. And I was able to land that new executive vice president role, and it increased my salary and my pay, and ultimately it changed my entire life. So I want you to take these notes, listen to this over and over again, allow the human side to kick in, but don't dwell in it long. Use these 5 tips, and I guarantee you will come out on top. You will appreciate the value that you're adding to your life, and everyone will see that you are promotable. Thank you for tuning in. This is Adrian Singleton, Beyond Lean.